What is going on, guys? Noxy here, and today I'm coming in with the fifth installment of Noxy's Dexpeditions. This is going to be a banger. As you guys can probably hear, I have a new mic. I have it suspended on a boom arm. It's a Rode mic. It's called the NT1A, I believe. It's a really nice mic. I like it. So you're going to have some crisper audio coming forward as we move into this new episode. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the time that me and my homeboys took DXM and went on a little 3-day bender and ended up getting drunk in the end as well. So this story starts off being a pretty uneventful day like 2-3 years ago. Me and my homies Luke and Chris, you guys know them from the skiing on DXM video where I skied on a ski resort. Skied on a ski resort. Yeah. Where I skied on a ski resort and we were high as fuck and we had a lot of fun that day. So we were at the mall for about 2-3 hours. It wasn't really an eventful time at the mall. I can't really say anything too spectacular about that. But eventually, we decided to walk across the street from the mall to the CVS. Now, the CVS, this was a pretty locked down CVS. It was kind of south of downtown in my city. And it had this little entrance. One of my homies decided to stay back at the mall, and me and my other homie, we went across outside of the mall and then across the street to the CVS. So I am the one who decided to go and get the DXM. Nobody's paying for that shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody's paying for DXM, especially if you're getting high on it. If you're like sick or something, I guess normal people would probably go ahead and buy it. But me, no. We're busting that shit out of the CVS, baby. So I walk into the CVS. There's kind of this little entrance. It's like a entrance with a camera, but I don't give a fuck. So I look normal. I'm not like a super intimidating guy or anything, or I don't look like I'm gonna steal. I just have a big old jacket on, right? But it is winter, so it's valid. Like there's no reason for me not to have this big old jacket on, right? I had this ski jacket on because it was like 40 something degrees. It was a really cold winter at this point in time. Um, so I walk in. I walk to the candy section first. I'm kind of looking for a snack, but I decide no, I'm not gonna get a snack. Um, I decided to be healthy that day. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get no candy. So after I'm done looking at the candy, I walk over to the cold and flu section. Now the cold and flu section wasn't too rated at this point. I guess no one was doing DXM, or not a lot of kids were getting high on DXM at this point in time. But I grab my Delsym. I only grab like one bottle, I think, and I walk out. I just walk out. Now, nobody even bats an eye. I guess there wasn't really anybody in the CVS now that I think about it. Like, there were a couple people at the registers, but it's not like the registers were even close to the entrance. Like, they were kind of like if you took a right, you would have to walk like a considerable distance to get to a register in that store. Not enough for any, even like running. Like, nobody could have caught me there. Um, but either way, I made out scot free with that bottle of DXM. They got fucked that day. But so after I walk out of the store with the DXM, I'm just chilling. I'm like, yeah, show my homie we got the DXM. We're finna get zooted, right? So me and my homie start planning to whose house we're gonna go to do this, and we eventually chose Luke's house because Luke had a pretty nice house and he had hella snacks at his crib. I remember his island would be just like a pile of snacks, like his kitchen island. Like there's his sink, but everything around the sink is kind of piled high with snacks. Debbie snacks, cookies, fucking chips, everything, bro. It was like kind of unhealthy looking, but it's not like this guy was super fat either, which is kind of crazy. Um anyway, after we had done that, um we kind of wait because none of us had a car at this point, so we wait for I think it was Luke's mom to pick us up. Yeah, Luke's mom. And so she brings us to the crib and we're chilling. So we go up to Luke's room, and eventually we had decided to bust out the DXM. Now, this was just a 5-ounce bottle of Delsym. This was not anything special, but our tolerance allowed us to get pretty decently zooted off this bottle. I mean, on 3 heads. I mean, his sister was there. She wasn't doing anything. She was smoking some weed, but the weed also accentuated it later on. I'm not going to lie. But On 3 heads, this 5-ounce bottle of Delsym was going to get us just right. Um, None of us are particularly big people either. Now, if you're a huge DXM person and you still enjoy this stuff, you probably remember using DexCalc if you were super particular about dosing out your DXM correctly. It was like a website where you input your body weight or not, yeah, your body weight, I believe, and your dosage, and it would kind of dose out it would calculate a dosage for you automatically. And this would be accurate, and it would also divide out the different plateaus. So if it would give you an optimal dose to reach whichever plateau you wanted to take. So we hop on this DexCalc website, and we we do our calculations, right? We type in our stuff, and it spits out some numbers. I believe each of us took around a third of a bottle because we used the measuring cap actually. Which is kind of crazy. Later on, I would just chug half or the whole bottle, depending on how high I wanted to get. But at this point, we used we went shot for shot on the Delsym with the bottle cap, which looking back on it is kind of crazy. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but only because it's kind of weird. I mean, just drink half the bottle. Don't be a pussy. But aside from that, after we finished getting our DXM, Luke's sister busts out the cart, and Chris is excited. He's like, "Oh shit, we're about to smoke!" And I get a little excited too, because like, okay, I'm gonna smoke. It'll kind of take off the nausea that you get from like the come up on DXM, because sometimes the come up on DXM can be pretty nauseating. I mean, I've vomited I don't know how many times, at least dry heave, because I try not to eat before taking DXM, like at least 3 hours before taking DXM, because if you do, it's highly likely that you're going to throw up. But aside from that, Luke's sister busts out the cart and we take our hits, and I'm pretty suited. I'm not gonna lie, it was a nice cart. I think it was like one of the old black Stizzies that were going around for a long time. Those were fire. I enjoyed those a lot. Now, after we had all ripped the cart, we had kind of waited for the come up on the DXM. Now, the come up wasn't too eventful, again, because the cart had taken away a lot of the nausea that comes along with a DXM come up. But after we had came up and we started tripping, I noticed one thing. My vision had, the textbook kind of visual snow that comes along with DXM. If you don't know what visual snow is, it's almost, I would say, like a static kind of. Like your vision is slightly staticky, like on those old TVs when you hit a channel that wasn't working and it kind of had that static. Imagine you put that static into Photoshop and just turned its opacity or transparency up, and your vision was like the under layer of the Photoshop layer. That's a weird analogy. I don't know how I came up with that analogy just now, but that's kind of what it looked like. A very staticky kind of open eye visual. Outside from that, the closed eye visuals weren't really too pronounced. Again, it wasn't really a high dose DXM trip. Had little tolerance, but still, it was only like a third bottle of Delsym. So it but the synergy with the weed helped a lot with kind of like rounding out the experience. So after we had settled into the trip, we decided to plan our outings for the next day. Now, we wanted to get drunk. We wanted to get drunk specifically because of this movie called House Party that Chris was wanting to go to. He'd been mentioning this movie throughout the night, and we were like, bet, let's go. So after staying up, tripping for a few more hours, nothing really eventful happened. We were kind of just chilling, talking about some bullshit. We went to sleep. Now, the afterglow when we woke up was pretty cool. I remember it was almost kind of surreal because we had woke up and I was a little hot, honestly. His room was pretty hot for like it being winter. I kind of sweated a lot through the night, but whatever, right? We had gotten up, and he has this kind of spiral staircase because his house was a little bit older, and he had this spiral staircase going down to the first floor. We were on the second floor. So we go down to the first floor. We had made some food. We begin listening to some music on the TV before we decide to go to the Rayleighs. I can't remember. Oh yeah. We had listened to some boom bap music on the TV that morning, which was a vibe. We had managed to get his sister's cart in the morning and smack that a couple times, so we were nice and zooted for the wake and bake. It was like 10 a.m. maybe, something like that. No, it was earlier than that. I think it was like 9. That makes sense, to be honest. Now, after bumping some music for a little bit, we decided to walk down to the grocery store. Now, the afterglow on this trip was honestly pretty cool. Walking in the morning while it's all snowy outside, fresh off the DXM, would recommend. Okay, it's honestly kind of a surreal experience. I remember this one YouTuber Bats was talking about how he felt like he was in the Truman Show when he was on the DXM Afterglow. That shit's facts. That shit is real. Okay. Now, once we had gotten to the store, we had decided who was gonna grab the liquor, and it was me, of course. I was always down to do that shit. Okay. I don't do that anymore, guys. Stealing is bad, okay? Don't steal. Just get a job and get some money together, okay? Please. Anyway, so I walk into the store, and my methodology for stealing is pretty simple. You gotta make it as unnoticeable as possible, but as quick as possible. You cannot be like running into the store. You can run on the way out. That's what I did today. But even then, it's better to just walk out, not draw attention to yourself. But I didn't follow by that rule yet. I was a little nervous, so I just ran out as quickly as possible. But it's always better just to make it as quiet and quick as possible. So I take a loop around the store. I go in on the right side entrance. There's 2 entrances to this store. There's the left side entrance, which is where the alcohol is. If you go on the left side entrance and pretty much right directly in there, there's the liquor, right? If you go on the right side entrance, there's like kind of like a bakery area and all sorts of type of stuff like that, right? Which is, these stores are very similarly formatted. Across all their locations, right? You have the liquor on the left side, the bakery and deli on the right, and everything else in the middle aisles, right? But this was an organic store. This was kind of like it wasn't a Whole Foods, but it was like a Whole Foods like imitation from a similar chain, right? So I walk into the store, I take a loop around the store, I walk in the right side entrance and I loop around because I don't know, I felt going directly to the liquor aisle would be a little suspicious. So I took a loop around and I get to the liquor aisle and I see a case of they had this name brand a store brand whiskey. It was like a Tennessee whiskey or something like that. And it was cask strength. It was like 61%. It was fire. So I took that, I stick it in my pants, and I walked the fuck out. I actually ran, but that's besides the point. I walked the fuck out. I'm excited as fuck. And on my way out, my homie was in there with me. He runs out with me, and one of the people was like, "We're calling the cops." Now, I don't think they actually ever did call the cops, but we had decided to pretty much book it out of that shopping plaza pretty quickly, right? We had to get out of there because, I mean, shit, being 15, someone says you're calling the cops after you just bust a bottle from the local grocery store. You're a little nervous, right? So we walk over to this little kind of, honestly, it was kind of like an underpass. It wasn't really like a highway overpass, but it was like kind of a mini bridge. Like there was a road over us, but it was like a little hole. I don't know. It was like some weird spot that my homie knew. So we were kind of sitting under this like mini bridge. It was like a concrete bridge, kind of like think about what that canal in LA looks like, you know, the ones in like GTA and shit. That big canal, the concrete one with the river flowing down the middle. Think about that, but there's no water and it's just a overpass. Right? There's an overpass covering it. I don't really know how to describe it. That was kind of a bad analogy, but whatever. Right? We're sitting under this hole and we're like, let's take some shots. And what Chris did was he actually went to the whipped cream section and he got a can of Ready Whip because he wanted to do a whip it, right? So he said that he was going to give us a whip it, right? He alleged that he was going to give us a whip it, right? Some of this Ready Whip can. But before we start taking shots, this dude just rips the whole Ready Whip can in one go. And obviously when you like hold it up and you take all the gas out of it and you inhale it, there's no more using the whipped cream in that Ready Whip can. All the gas is gone. You can't propel it out of the can. So we kind of just threw the can away on the way home. But before that, we decided to take some shots. Now, each of us takes a little swig off the bottle. We didn't have any shot glasses or anything like that. We just take it straight out the bottle. And this shit was pretty decent whiskey. It was strong though. Like I said, it was like 61%. It was cask strength. It was some pretty smooth whiskey, but it was strong. So after we had taken our shots, we decided just chill under the overpass until, you know, we decided it was safe to go home. And we had decided to cross the street because this little thing we were chilling under was pretty much across the street from the entrance to Luke's neighborhood, right? So we get up, we walk across the street to Luke's, and we decide to hide the bottle until tonight. Once we get back to his house, we're kind of, you know, I only took one shot, but it was like, you know, loosening up a little bit. It wasn't too crazy. I wasn't drunk or anything, but just loosened up, right? Now, once we get back to Luke's house, hide the bottle, right? Because his mom's up and everything like that. His dad was at work, but his mom was up. So we kind of chill in his room, you know, just do shit for however the fuck long. Until that night, right? Eventually, time comes around. We had taken like, I think one shot. I think a couple more shots. No, I think it was only one throughout the day. I think once it came towards afternoon, we took another one. But outside of that, we didn't really tap this bottle anymore before the night. So we had some time to kind of get our shit together. By the time we had gotten home from the mission, it was probably like 11, something like that. We'd spent a considerable amount of time under that little overpass thing. So it was around 11, and we wanted to go to the movie theaters around like 5 or 6. And this is wintertime, so it was dark around like 5 or 6. So yeah. So by that point, we had some time to get our money together and everything planned out, right? Unfortunately, Luke could not get the correct amount of money together for the tickets to the movie. I mean, it was kind of sad that he didn't go, but shit, I didn't see much of the movie by the time we got there anyway. By the time it came around to go to this movie, we bring the bottle. I bring it in my fucking pocket, or I don't know. No, I put it like in my waistband. I didn't bring it in my pocket. That's a little too obvious. Yeah. I put it in my waistband, and after paying for the tickets, I don't think we got any snacks. No, we didn't have enough money for snacks. We just raw dogged the movie. No popcorn, no soda, no nothing like that. We just raw dogged the movie. Now during the movie, we start going shot for shot. Me and Chris start going shot for shot in the movie theater watching the house party. Now I get so drunk, I just pass out. And I kind of wake up intermittently between the movie, catching like a couple scenes, but I was so fucking plastered that I just pass out. And eventually my homie wakes me up. He's like, yo, the movie's over. I'm like, what the fuck? Did I just fucking teleport? Did I just travel in between time dimensions? Outside of that, no, I did not travel in between time dimensions. I'm just drunk as fuck and I need to go fucking lay down. The walk home to back to Luke's house was insane. It was hella funny. We had gotten plastered. Chris was plastered. I was plastered. Fuck. Right? Just fuck. So after getting back to Luke's house, some tomfoolery goes down, boy. I remember at some point during the night, Luke and Chris were fighting, right? They were on some homie shit fighting, right? And this dude throws, I think it was Chris or it was one of them. I can't remember who it was, but one of these dudes got thrown into this guy's shelf and it knocks the fuck over. Like it just collapses. The shelf just collapses and we don't do anything about it till the morning. I believe I left sometime later that morning, but nothing happened to that shelf until the morning time. No one even noticed either, which was crazy. We had managed to tap his sister's cart one more time, kind of chiefing that bitch, but hey, she's the goat, right? After that, I mean, there's not really anything else to this story other than the fucking shelf getting broken was so fucking funny, dude. I was hollering. We were so fucking drunk. That's gonna be it for this story, honestly. The DXM and alcohol bender. I forgot to say the serotonin syndrome. We were low-key scared that we were gonna get serotonin syndrome on the afterglow, which it kind of felt a little weird, like when we were walking home from busting the bottle out of the store. It kind of felt a little weird, but it not serotonin syndrome. No, it kind of had a synergy, but it wasn't serotonin syndrome at all. It was just the alcohol kind of accentuating the afterglow. Anyway, that is going to do it for Dexpeditions Part 5. Part 6 coming soon. I might do a different story before doing Part 6, but hey, this is just a little upload, man. This was a fun-ass night. This was a very fun-ass night. I was sitting here at my desk this morning just remembering this day and decided I would tell it for a Dexpedition story because, man, was this a good banger. This was a banger of a night, man. With that being said, this is Noxy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.